Let's have a quick look at our implementation. Looks pretty basic, but this also implies in this case there's nothing to refactor. Go over to the tests and let's have a look at those. We have 3 tests actually implemented. And I would like to quickly factor out some commonalities of these tests into a before method so that I actually convert this to a field. Test game, yeah, no. Test games, perfectly all right. Unit on the test will also be extracted. And then I will quickly set up a before method. Set up game loop. And pull out this first line and the third line. And then of course I do that for all the tests. Delete the respective lines that were duplicated. The tests should still be running. Yes, they are. Okay, now I'm content with my implementation here so far and with my tests, but our game loop is actually not doing everything we need. For example, it's not actually invoking a draw. So I want to write a test that actually requires us to invoke draw in this game loop. Go back to the tests and say tests public void invokes draw after update. I think in the template I gave before, draw was called render, but you can abstract from that, right? Or yeah, let's change it to render here. Okay, so I want again to the game to test game set running at run at least once, because otherwise, of course, we won't update and we won't render. We want the unit on the test, so the game loop to run. And we want to assert that on the test game, I have a number of of renders set to 1. Again, I'm going to quickly create that field here. Does that work? No, of course it doesn't, because it's actually null. Yeah, because I have integer here and I want it to be int. But I have 0 where it should be 1 because it's not invoked. Makes sense, right? Good, let's get that to run by invoking a draw, or render rather. The method does not exist, so the method does not exist, so I quickly create it. And then of course my test, my business logic is working, but my test is broken because my test stub needs to implement the render method now. Add unimplemented methods. Render should increase number of renders here. That should work and should in fact make this test pass. Okay, so first thing I want to do now is make this test better, because the test says invokes render after update, but in fact it does not guarantee that this order is in fact in here, because I could change it and the test is still running. This is a not so frequent case that I actually need to ensure the order some methods are called in. But for a game loop, it's apparently important because, I mean, if I render only like one iteration later, then the user will feel like a lagging between the state updates and the rendering. So I actually would like to change the test in a way that this now fails and I need to change the order again. And since I have a manual, like a handcrafted mocking thing here, I can actually do that pretty easy by adding a condition here and say, okay, the number of renders needs to be the number of updates minus 1. Number of updates minus 1. So it should update should be called 1 time more than render. Otherwise, I'm going to throw a new render before update exception. This one should be created real quick in the test superclass exception. Wow, that's nice. That should be all I need. No, it's not. Add a throws declaration. Do I really want? No, I want this to be a runtime exception. So I don't need to add the throws declaration here. Okay, I want this to be there and then my test should actually fail, but they don't. So apparently I messed up the yeah, if that's not the case, if render is bigger than it should fail and now it in fact fails, and if I turn it around again, it should work. Yes, it does. So now we ensured the order of the invocation of these two methods, of the render and the update method. Okay, so only thing left for me to do is some cleanup. I would like to see, not on the game loop because that's still pretty simple, but on the tests, because currently I have the isUpdate and the number of updates here, which is kind of a duplication of the same information. So I would like to throw out this field and throw this out here, and instead insert here some conditions on the number of updates. Say assert that test game number of update, not renders, number of updates is 0. And in the case down here, say assert that test game number of updates is 1. This should run. And with that, I'm at the end of Eric Smith's first blog post about the game loop, and I will continue the next time. This is it for today. I hope you liked this episode and could take something from it. If so, give me a thumbs up. If not, drop me a comment, send me a message, let me know what you think about it. And yeah, I hope to see you next time.